Sometime last year, I did a top 10 safest budget cars in South Africa under 350,000 rands, ranked according to NCAP, and the Suzuki Dzire was the overall winner. So I knew I had to get my hands on one, and accordingly, Suzuki South Africa were happy to send us a unit. Today, we are going to find out once and for all what all of the fuss is about, because I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about its practicality, its features. I'm going to take it on the road and tell you how it drives dynamically, and then I will unpack what it'll cost to own. So, without further ado, let's get into this review. Car Talks: Power, Precision, Performance. The Suzuki Dzire is essentially the sedan version of the Suzuki Swift, and probably the one to have if you're considering getting into the Uber business because it's nippy around town, it's safe, cheap to run and maintain, and surprisingly roomy in the rear despite an overall length of less than 4 meters. This is the GL Plus, which is the top trim for the Dzire, and it is powered by a 1.2-liter naturally aspirated 3-cylinder petrol engine, producing 60 kilowatts and 112 newton meters of torque, which is not a whole lot, but the Dzire only weighs 940 kilograms, which is less than a ton, so it's pretty light on its feet. It sends power to the front wheels only via a 5-speed manual gearbox, which I enjoyed a little more than the 4-speed in the Suzuki Fronx. Moving on to practicality and features, you get 378 liters worth of boot capacity. Comparatively, the Honda Amaze gets 416 liters, while the Kia Pegasus gets 475 liters. Meaning, the Dzire's boot is on the smaller side when compared to industry peers. Nevertheless, you get a space-saver spare wheel under the boot floor and a manually operated tailgate. Coming around to the rear cabin, you get a black cloth bench with a center armrest and 2 cup holders. More interestingly, the more expensive Suzuki Fronx that we had on test did not have this. You get ISOFIX anchor points to safely mount your child seat, 6 airbags, and a 5-star global NCAP rating for adult occupant protection, with 4 stars for child occupant protection. So when it comes to safety, this is second to none, which is quite insane when you consider the price of this. But we'll get into pricing a bit later. You get not one, but 2 air vents and 2 USB ports, which are a Type A and Type C. And as always, I'm 1.78 meters tall or 5'10", and I can literally stretch my legs out behind my driving position, despite how short this vehicle is. And that's because what you'll notice is that the bonnet and the boot are fairly short, so most of the length of this vehicle has basically gone to interior space. As a bonus, you get rear power windows that open all the way down. Stepping into the front cabin, you get manually adjustable cloth seats as expected in this segment, but these do have height adjustment, which is generous. You get 2 cup holders, a place to store your cell phone, plus another USB Type A port, so that's 3 in total in the car, and a 12-volt socket. In terms of storage, apart from the door bins, you basically get a cubbyhole, but it is a decent size. The infotainment system has a 7-inch touchscreen and comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. My only complaint is that the bezel around the screen is just too big. The bezel is still big in the Suzuki Swift GLX, but that gets a 9-inch screen, so it fills it up a little bit better. But then at least you get physical aircon controls, which are really easy to use when driving. You get a urethane wrapped multifunction steering wheel, which is a rubbery feeling type of compound, so it's not leather. And the GL Plus trim gets non-adaptive cruise control. You also get a good old analog instrument cluster, which is a nice touch because digital clusters at this price point tend to be horrible from my experience. What I also appreciate about the Dzire is that you have a place to rest your left foot within the footwell, which is something you don't get in the Suzuki Jimny because it's just too narrow. And just out of curiosity, the Dzire doesn't have any fancy push-to-start technology, so that is the key in the ignition. Another thing to be aware of is that you get cream accents in the Dzire, which won't appeal to everybody's taste. Additionally, the interior does feel plasticky at certain touch points, but the layout has been ergonomically thought out. And it is a budget car at the end of the day, so you're getting what you're paying for. And if you're not happy about the interior plastics at this price point, then go ahead and buy a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. And if you're wondering what the 4-speaker audio system sounds like, head over to my YouTube shorts. Before we get to driving dynamics, if you're enjoying these videos, then please go ahead and smash the subscribe button to become a part of the family. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss a single one of our epic reviews. Welcome to the interior of the 2026 Suzuki Dzire GL Plus. Now, I was actually filming this with my BMW G23 series, so driving them back to back, the first thing that became glaringly obvious to me was just how soft and comfortable the suspension of the Dzire was. And because a lot of these will end up as Ubers, I think you'll particularly enjoy the back seat because you can open your laptop and send a few emails or take a meeting in absolute comfort. The engine delivers peak torque at 4,300 RPM, so it's an engine that wants you to build some revs before you get going. But I didn't mind revving it out because the manual gearbox has a lovely throw to it. And the 3-cylinder engine sounds like a mini 6-cylinder because 3 is half of 6, albeit less refined. There's something that has always baffled me about Suzuki customers because the Jimny is quite popular in the city and maybe not for the right reasons. Because we took the Jimny to Henops last year and it's a highly capable off-roader, but it's not that great to live with as a daily. It's narrow, so you sit on top of one another, the steering is vague at best, and there's only one USB port for the entire car. And yet, the parking lot of any shopping center has a Jimny. I mean, I get the fascination behind it. It's like a mini G-Wagon, right? But the Dzire, at least for me, is a more pleasant city car in every respect. Back to the vehicle that we're actually reviewing, the GL Plus gets these very sleek blacked out 15-inch alloys, whereas the lower spec GA gets steel wheels which look less desirable. You even have a little cute boot spoiler. Unfortunately, this one gets halogen headlamps and there's no higher spec than the GL Plus in South Africa. You get a choice of 6 colors from which to choose. And the press unit we're in is finished in splendid silver pearl. The Dzire also gets a very generous 5-year 200,000 kilometer warranty and a 4-year 60,000 kilometer service plan. Other highlight features include an anti-lock braking system or ABS, seatbelt warning, rear park distance control, and a reversing camera. Claimed fuel consumption is 4.4 liters per 100 kilometers on the combined cycle, which would yield a theoretical range of 841 kilometers on the 37-liter fuel tank. But we were averaging 5.7 liters to the 100 during the week we had the vehicle, which would yield a range of 649 liters. And that's pretty amazing given how small the fuel tank is. Moving on to pricing and cost of ownership, there are only 2 trim levels available for the Dzire in South Africa, and that is namely the entry-level GA, which only comes in a 5-speed manual, with no cruise control and no infotainment screen. And that one starts from 230,000 rands. Above that is the top spec GL Plus, which you can get as either a 5-speed manual, which is the one we're driving, or with a CVT gearbox. The CVT is priced from 273,000 rands, while the manual comes in 20,000 rands less at 253,000 rands. On finance, the GL Plus manual will cost you 4,800 rands a month over 6 years at the current prime interest rate of 10.25% per annum. Insurance is risk profile dependent and the cheapest quote I got was 1,400 rands. A full tank of petrol will cost you 750 rands at the current inland price of 95 octane for the 37-liter fuel tank, which went up by 20 cents by the way yesterday thanks to US-Iran tensions. And that would bring your total cost of ownership to 7,000 rands all in. I often say that the cheapest car is not necessarily the best one to buy, and this is especially true in the budget segment because safety is priceless, and so you want to maximize every rand and get the most value for money. The Dzire competes alongside the Honda Amaze and Kia Pegasus, to name a few, both of which only have 2 airbags based on our research, which means that Dzire is the safest one to be in. You're actually getting more value in here than the price suggests, which is why these things are so damn popular on our roads lately. As always, let me know in the comments what you're getting for under 300,000 rands brand new. Or we can even open it up and say, even if it's not brand new, but must be under 300,000 rands. Let me know. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.